Hey guys, what's going on? So today I've got a special guest with me, Michael J. Zara. He has joined me for this collaborative review, and together we're going to be reviewing for you As Above, So Below. Before I get into this, I'm going to let Michael go first. At the end of the video, the link to his channel is going to be down below. Subscribe to his channel and comment down below what you thought about this review after you watch it. Alright, I'm going to give it to my boy Michael.
Going on, guys? My name's Mike and I'm part of the Z Review, and firstly I want to give a massive shout out to the big Rob Theory, who's asked me to collab on this video and kind of give my thoughts and give my comments and kind of a slight review as such on the 2014 movie that's directed by John Dowdle, and it's called As Above, So Below. Now, before going into this review, I kind of want to do a bit more research. I want to go back and explore different elements of this movie, and I actually found the director John Dowdle directed a movie that I have seen of his called No Escape, which stars Owen Wilson, and I really think that film is underrated. However, back to this review, John Dowdle has directed movies kind of like Devil and the Quarantine movies, so I guess in a sense, when you look at it from that perspective, he's used to doing like a horror movie. He's used to kind of doing like a lower budget, maybe like handheld kind of style film, which I definitely think relates a lot into this movie, which is his latest horror one. So I actually learned when the big Rob Theory asked me to collab on this video that this movie was about the French catacombs. And interestingly enough, a month before actually being asked by Rob to do this, I actually watched a documentary based on the French catacombs. And I never really knew much about it, just going to be honest. And when I watched this documentary, there's something on in the background, but about 10 minutes in, it caught my attention. And I watched the full documentary because I thought it was awesome. And when I found out this movie was about that also, I was like, wow, right, I've got to check this out. So anyway, kind of to give my thoughts on this movie. Firstly, I like the casting. I thought that was actually a really good choice. And I felt like there wasn't one character where I was like, you know, why did they get picked for this movie, or who made that kind of casting choice? My favourite character out of the whole film, I would have said, was probably Benji the cameraman. Don't want to give too many spoilers, because if you guys have not seen it as of yet, because it's taken me 6 years to see it, I don't want to spoil it. The only thing I will say though is after you've watched this movie, it is going to leave you with some questions, and that could be because if you're not too sure about Dante's Inferno or the Divine Comedy, which I wasn't personally, I was left with questions enough where I was intrigued, and I spent my own time to research about what that meant in the film, or why did that scene play out like it did. Which to me, if a movie can make you do that, and you can go away and research about that movie even more after it's film, it clearly goes to show it's had an impact on you. And that's one thing I loved about this movie. I really liked that when I was watching the movie, and at some points when the characters are going through a journey and it's kind of like repeated but slightly different, I was like shit, like what the hell's going on? I didn't know what was happening, but again, that caught my interest, and I was really interested in this movie, which has about like a 93 minute runtime, and I really don't felt like it stretched that runtime, because there's odd little bits I noticed in the background, but there's also other stuff as well in the film that I really noticed and I really liked about this movie. And it didn't have a high budget, so I really felt like John Dowdle made the most of the budget that he got. This film did revenue about 41 to 48 million in return of that 5 mil budget, and I really think it deserves that, because personal opinion is that I think this film is underrated. The only kind of gripes I've got would be, again, if you're not too sure about Dante's Inferno or the Divine Comedy this whole concept is about, you know, you're all going to be left with questions, but at the time that could impact your view on this film. Some people might turn in and be like that doesn't quite work for me, and I can see from that perspective as to why people would think that. And I would say there was only kind of one or two characters in this where they didn't really get fleshed out as much, or didn't have much of a backstory, so you didn't really care about them. I would say my favourite character in this movie in general was Benji, the cameraman. He was really like my favourite character, and I don't know what kind of like related to him a little bit, because as the film goes on, he's like, no, sod that. I'm not gonna go do that. And yeah, I guess he's just kind of more believable and more of like a reality kind of take on things, where you're in like a dark place, and if you're gonna go explore and you're scared, those emotions are gonna show out, even if you try to hide them. So yeah, guys, I really hope you enjoyed kind of my take on this movie, and I just want to again thank the Big Rob Theory for having me in this.
All right, once again, thank you, Michael, for being part of this review. Much appreciated. So let's get into this. As Above, So Below was directed by Jötunn Productions. This movie takes place in Paris, and more specifically in the catacombs underneath the city of Paris. So a couple people or young explorers decide that they want to check out the catacombs and go to like the deepest portion of the catacombs. As you go throughout the movie, you'll realize it's considered the gates of hell. This particular style of movie, which is called found footage style or point of view style, I really like these kinds of movies. There's Grave Encounters, Diary of the Dead, Cloverfield, Paranormal Activity. Those are some of the movies that are similar to this, that are shot in first person or found footage. So I really, really like those kinds of movies because they really immerse you in the movie, and that's kind of what you want. Well, for me, as a movie buff, I really want to feel like I'm in the movie, not really like in the movie, but like, in the movie, like invested in the movie. That's what instantly drew me in with this movie to start off. But the fact that they're exploring a cave, that's pretty cool to me. However, it also kind of made me feel clustered, As you were watching the movie, when they get deeper and deeper, it's like when you see someone that can't breathe on television or something, you kind of feel like you can't breathe, but not to their extent. That's kind of what you feel in this movie, but it's not necessarily bad because it got me invested in the movie. I was like, wow, okay, I want to see them get some fresh air. Oh my goodness, this guy's stuck. Like, what's happening? The movie overall was just phenomenal. I had never seen it. I didn't even hear about it. Those who know me know I'm not the biggest horror movie fan. However, I have seen a lot of horror movies for someone who doesn't really go out of their way to see horror movies. I'm a big fan of certain style of horror movies. Case in point, like See No Evil, Stay Alive, The Catacombs. Certain movies, I don't know, they get me. Even though they might be really, really scary, they'll still get me. But then there's other movies that I just can't watch. I don't know. It's weird. So I'm going to get into a little bit of the characters. You have Perdita Weeks, who plays Scarlett. Ben Feldman, who plays George. Edwin Hodge, who plays Benji, her good friend. And Francois Civil, he plays Papillion, or Pap, as they call him in the movie. Marion Lambert, she plays Sio, and she's kind of like Pap's travel partner. And you have Ali Mahar, which plays Zed. Overall, I'd have to say this movie was a fantastic time. It was a nice ride. There were a lot of moments where when the camera panned and you would see something pop up. Anybody who's seen this movie or is familiar with horror movies, the very spiritual centers of isolated areas is where paranormal stuff really happens. You start to see things throughout the movie, and it didn't necessarily scare me. It was just like, oh crap. Like that's not really there, or maybe that's really there. I don't know. You don't know, So it's like it's pretty cool. I really like that factor. The movie itself is titled As Above, So Below. So in essence, that kind of means that everything's opposite. The way how the movie is, it's so sick that when it gets to like a certain part of the movie, I don't want to tell you too much about it, just in case you haven't seen it yet. Apparently, it was like a highly noted movie back in 2014. I didn't know about it. A lot of things transpire or start to transpire. I really like the build-up in movies. This movie had an amazing build-up, and I think that's what gripped me even more, is because certain things happen every now and then down there, but nothing really huge and like scary or suspenseful happened until close to like the end of the movie. That's what really got me. I was like, okay, I know some stuff's happening because some serious stuff has already happened. And then once one thing happened, it was just like a domino effect and all hell broke loose, literally. And it's just, oh my gosh, this movie is a great time. I recommend watching it with someone. I had the luxury of watching it with my girlfriend, Caitlin. She introduced me to it. It's one of her favorite movies. Wow. I have to say I've got to add it to my repertoire of favorite movies because just the way how it's shot and in that point of view, the writing of this movie is beautiful. As above, so below. I love the idea behind that. So overall, I have to give this movie real big props because it was written very well, directed very well, and I loved the acting from all the actors. It was just phenomenal. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you for joining me in this collaborative review. There'll be some more collaborative reviews coming in the future. Subscribe to Michael's channel, the link is down below. If you liked this movie and you liked watching this video, if you stuck through the whole thing, please like and comment on the video and share this video with other horror fans or just other people that like movies, you know, or want to be interested in checking out horror movies. Thanks guys, see you in the next one.